The ship landed at Harmony Point Station on a cold Tuesday morning. Kira Valdez stepped off the transport with a small bag over her shoulder and a careful look in her brown eyes. She was 17 years old, had dark hair that fell past her shoulders, and moved in a way that made other people nervous without knowing why. Harmony Point was the biggest space station in this part of the galaxy. It floated in neutral space, far from any empire or kingdom. The station was home to the Galactic Integration Academy, a school where young people from different planets came to learn together. The idea was simple. If the children of different species grew up as friends, maybe their worlds would stop fighting wars. Kira was the first human to attend the academy in 5 years. Apavals would stop fighting wars. Kira was the first human to attend the academy in 5 years. A tall creature with blue skin and 6 eyes met her at the docking bay. His name was Administrator Ven, and he was in charge of new students. "Welcome to Harmony Point," he said. His voice was smooth and calm. "We are pleased to have a representative from Earth." Kira nodded politely. "Thank you for accepting me." Ven looked at her for a long moment. His 6 eyes moved independently, studying her from different angles. Kira did not look away. She had learned long ago that looking away was a sign of weakness. "You will find things different here," Ven said finally. "Most species at this academy come from peaceful worlds. They have not experienced the kind of environment that Earth provides." "I understand," Kira said, but she did not really understand. Not yet. The academy building was enormous. Glass walls showed the stars outside. Gardens filled with plants from 100 different worlds lined the hallways. Students of every shape and size walked through the corridors. Some had fur. Some had scales. Some floated instead of walked. Some had too many arms or not enough legs. Kira had studied alien species before coming here. She knew the names and the basics about each one. But seeing them in person was different. These were real people with real lives. They laughed and talked and worried about tests just like humans did. Her room was small but comfortable. A bed that adjusted to her body temperature. A desk with a computer that could translate any language. A window that showed the endless darkness of space. Kira unpacked her few belongings and sat on the bed. She was far from home. Her family was back on Earth, probably eating dinner right now. Her mother had cried when she left. Her father had told her to make them proud. She intended to do exactly that. Classes started the next day. Kira walked into her first lecture and immediately felt every eye in the room turn toward her. The classroom was shaped like a circle, with seats rising up from the center. About 40 students sat in those seats. They represented at least 15 different species. In the middle of the room stood Instructor Morvax, a tall insectoid creature from the crystalline worlds. His body was made of something that looked like living glass, and when he moved, light reflected in rainbow patterns. "Ah," Morvax said. "Our new student. Please, find a seat." Kira climbed the steps and found an empty spot near a small creature covered in soft golden fur. The creature looked at her with wide purple eyes. "Hello," Kira said quietly. "I am Kira." "I am Lissa," the furry creature whispered back. "You are the human?" "Yes." Lissa made a small sound that might have been surprise or fear. "I have never met a human before. Is it true that your planet has creatures that eat their young?" Kira thought about this. "Some insects do that, yes, and some fish. But humans do not." "That is good," Lissa said, relaxing a little. The lecture began. Morvax talked about the history of galactic cooperation. He explained how different species had learned to work together over thousands of years. War had been common once. Now, most conflicts were solved through talking and trade. Kira listened carefully and took notes. She noticed that several students kept looking at her throughout the lecture. Their expressions ranged from curious to worried to something that looked like disgust. After class, she learned why. A tall, silver-skinned student blocked her path in the hallway. He had 4 arms and stood almost 7 feet tall. His eyes were dark red, and they looked at Kira like she was something dirty on the bottom of his shoe. "So this is the Deathworlder," he said loudly. Other students stopped to watch. I wondered what one would look like. Kira looked up at him calmly. "My name is Kira. What is yours?" "I am Zefkorin." He said the name like it should mean something important. "My family has controlled the weapons trade in 17 systems for 6 generations." "That is impressive," Kira said. She was not impressed. Zeth leaned down until his face was close to hers. "Your kind should not be here. Deathworlders are dangerous. You evolved on a planet that tries to kill everything that lives on it. That makes you violent, unpredictable, savage." Kira did not step back. She did not blink. She simply looked at Zeth with those calm brown eyes and waited. "Do you have nothing to say?" Zeth demanded. "I have many things to say," Kira replied. "But I do not think you would understand them." Zeth's red eyes narrowed. Behind him, his friends laughed nervously. This was not the reaction they had expected. Most new students cowered when Zeth spoke to them. This small human girl just stood there like she was waiting for a bus. "We will see," Zeth said finally. "We will see what happens when the savage shows her true nature." He walked away with his friends. Kira watched them go. Lissa appeared at her side. "Are you okay?" "Zeth is very dangerous. His family is very powerful. I am fine," Kira said. "You did not seem afraid of him." Kira considered this. Back on Earth, she had faced many frightening things. She had been caught in a flood when she was 12. She had been chased by wild dogs when she was 14. She had watched her cousin fight off a shark during a fishing trip, Zefkorin. With his 4 arms and his important family, did not scare her at all. On Earth, Kira said slowly, we learned to face danger very young. If we did not, we would not survive. Liz's purple eyes went wide. What kind of planet is Earth? A beautiful one, Kira said, but also a deadly one. We call it home. Over the next 2 weeks, Kira settled into life at the academy. She attended classes, did her homework, and made a few friends. Lissa became her closest companion. The small Fanari was nervous about everything, but she was also kind and curious and always willing to help. Another student, a quiet green-skinned boy named Pip, joined their group. He came from a water world and had to wear a special suit that kept his skin moist. He did not talk much, but he was excellent at mathematics. Kira helped both of them with their studies. In return, they helped her understand the complicated social rules of the academy. Who to avoid, who to trust, which foods would make a human sick, and which were safe to eat. Do not eat the purple fruit, Lissa warned her one day in the cafeteria. It is poisonous to warm-blooded species. Kira looked at the fruit in her hand. Thank you. I did not know. How did your species survive if you cannot tell which foods are dangerous? We have a saying, Kira said. Everything on Earth wants to kill you. You get used to it. Lissa shuddered. Pip made a bubbling sound that was his version of a laugh, but not everyone found Kira funny. Zeph continued to watch her from across rooms and hallways. He made comments about Deathworlders whenever she was near. He told other students to stay away from her. Some listened. Some did not. Instructor Morvax noticed the tension. After class one day, he asked Kira to stay behind. You are adapting well, he said. Better than I expected. Thank you, instructor. But I sense trouble ahead. Young Corin does not like you. No, Kira agreed. He does not. The Tavani are a proud species. They have built their civilization on strength and conquest. Zeth sees you as a threat to everything he believes in. Why? I have done nothing to him. Morvax made a sound that might have been a sigh. You exist. That is enough. Humans remind the Tovani that there are species in the galaxy that might be more dangerous than they are, and they do not like to be reminded of that. Kira thought about this for a long moment. What should I do? Be careful, Morvax said, and be patient. Perhaps he will learn to accept you in time. But Kira could see in the instructor's crystal eyes that he did not really believe that. Neither did she. Something was coming. She could feel it the way she used to feel storms approaching back on Earth. The air changed. The pressure shifted. Animals went quiet. Zeph Karn was planning something, and when it happened, Kira would be ready. 3 weeks passed at the academy. Kira learned to navigate the hallways without getting lost. She memorized the names of her classmates and their species. She discovered which food she liked and which made her stomach hurt. She even started to feel like she belonged, but she never forgot about Zeth Karn. He watched her constantly. In the cafeteria, in the library, in the corridors between classes. His red eyes followed her everywhere she went. He whispered to his friends when she walked by. He made sure she knew he was watching. Kira pretended not to notice. She kept her head down and focused on her studies. She spent time with Lissa and Pip. She helped other students who struggled with their assignments. She did everything she could to show that humans were not the monsters everyone expected. But deep inside, she knew it would not be enough. Zeth did not want to be convinced. He wanted to be right. The morning started like any other. Kira woke up early and exercised in her room. Push-ups, sit-ups, stretches. Her body needed movement. Humans had evolved to run and climb and fight. Sitting still all day made her feel wrong. She ate breakfast alone in the cafeteria. Lissa was not a morning person. Neither was Pip. Kira used the quiet time to review her notes for the day's classes. First period was Advanced Interspecies Relations with Instructor Morvax. It was one of her favorite classes. She enjoyed learning how different species thought and communicated. It helped her understand the strange looks she received and the comments people made. The classroom was full when she arrived. About 30 students sat in the circular seats. Kira found her usual spot next to Lissa, who was yawning and rubbing her purple eyes. Good morning, Kira said. Too early, Lissa mumbled. How are you so awake? Humans wake with the sun. It is how we evolved. Your planet had a sun that rose every day. Yes, 24 hours. It set and then it rose again. Lissa shook her furry head. Madness. Instructor Morvax entered the room. His crystal body caught the light and sent rainbows dancing across the walls. He carried a stack of papers, which was unusual. Most instructors use digital screens. Good morning, students, he said. We have a lot to cover today. I will need to step out briefly to handle an administrative matter. Please work on the group assignment I posted last night. I expect progress reports when I return. He placed the papers on his desk and walked out. The door closed behind him. The students began moving into their assigned groups. Kira joined Lissa and Pip at a table near the window. They were supposed to design a trade agreement between two fictional species with very different values. I think we should start with their basic needs, Pip said. His voice was soft and wet. What does each species require to survive? Good idea, Kira said. She pulled up her notes on the tablet. The Korath need high temperatures and mineral-rich food. The Fenari need moderate temperatures and organic plant matter. We need to find resources that benefit both. Lissa nodded. Maybe the Korath can provide minerals from their volcanic region, and the Fenari can provide agricultural products from their forests. They worked in silence for several minutes. The classroom hummed with quiet conversation as other groups discussed their own projects. Everything felt normal. Then the door sealed shut. The sound was loud and final. A heavy clunk that echoed through the room. Every student looked up from their work. Emergency lockdowns were rare. They only happened during serious situations. Zeth Karn stood at the front of the room. He was not in his assigned group. He had moved while everyone was distracted. Now he stood between the students and the sealed door. His forearms crossed over his chest. In his primary hands, he held a weapon. Kira recognized it immediately. A Tovani pulse pistol. Military grade. Designed to punch through light armor. One shot could kill most species in the room instantly. The classroom erupted in panic. Students screamed. Some tried to hide under their desks. Others pushed against the sealed door, trying to escape. The Fanari students made high-pitched sounds of terror. The Valani students, who came from a world without predators, simply froze in place. Lissa grabbed Kira's arm. Her small body was shaking so hard she could barely hold on. Her purple eyes were wide with fear. "Nobody moves," Zeth said loudly. His voice was calm, controlled. He had planned this. "Stay in your seats, and nobody gets hurt." Slowly, the chaos settled into terrified silence. Students lowered themselves into their chairs. Some were crying. Others were too scared to make any sound at all. Kira had not moved from her seat. She had not screamed. She had not hidden. She had not tried to run. She sat perfectly still, her brown eyes fixed on Zeth and the weapon in his hands. Her heart was beating fast. Adrenaline flooded her body, the ancient chemical that had kept her ancestors alive on the killing fields of Earth. Her muscles tensed. Her vision sharpened. Her mind became very, very clear. Zeth noticed her lack of reaction. He smiled. "Look at this," he said to the room. "The Deathworlder is not afraid. Or maybe she is too stupid to understand what is happening." He walked toward her, keeping the weapon raised. Other students scrambled out of his path. Within seconds, he stood in front of her table. "Stand up," he commanded. Kira did not move. "I said stand up, Deathworlder." Slowly, Kira rose to her feet. Lissa made a small sound of protest but did not let go of her arm. Pip was frozen in his seat, his green skin turning pale. Zeth raised the pistol and pointed it at Kira's chest. At this range, he could not miss. One shot would end her life. "This is a demonstration," Zeth announced to the class. "My father says the Deathworlders are dangerous, that they should not be allowed to mix with civilized species, that they are a threat to peace and order in the galaxy." He looked at Kira with his red eyes full of hatred. "But look at her now. She cannot do anything. She cannot hurt anyone. She is helpless, just like everyone else. She is not special. She is not dangerous. She is just another weak creature, pretending to be more than she is." Kira looked at the weapon pointed at her heart. She looked at Zeth's face, twisted with anger and pride. She looked at the terrified students all around her. And then she smiled. It was not a nervous smile. It was not a fake smile to hide her fear. It was a real smile, warm and genuine, like someone had just told her a wonderful joke. Zeth's expression changed. The confidence flickered. "What are you smiling at?" he demanded. "You," Kira said. Her voice was soft and steady. "I am smiling at you. You think this is funny? I have a weapon pointed at your chest. Yes, you do. I could kill you right now. You could try." Something in those words made Zeth hesitate. The room had gone completely silent. Every student was watching. Every student was holding their breath. "What did you say?" "Zeth." Kira tilted her head slightly. "I said you could try, but I do not think you will succeed. You are insane. This is a military-grade pulse pistol. One shot and you were dead. Maybe. but you would have to hit me first. Zeth's forearms tightened on the weapon. You cannot move faster than a pulse blast. No, Kira agreed. I cannot, but I can move faster than you. And that is all that matters. For a long moment, nobody moved. The tension in the room was so thick it felt hard to breathe. Lissa was crying silently, her tears soaking into her golden fur. Then Kira took a step forward. Zeth's finger moved toward the trigger, and everything happened at once. Later, students would describe what they saw. Some said Kira disappeared and reappeared in a different place. Some said she moved so fast she became a blur. Some said they blinked and missed the whole thing. What actually happened was this. Kira moved. She did not think about moving. She did not plan it. Her body acted on instinct, the same instinct that had kept humans alive for millions of years on a planet that wanted them dead. She went low and fast, diving to the left as she launched herself forward. The pulse pistol fired, but the shot went over her head, burning a hole in the wall behind her. By the time Zeth tried to adjust his aim, she was already too close. Her hand caught his wrist and twisted. The weapon fell from his grip and clattered to the floor. Her other hand pushed against his chest, while her foot swept his legs out from under him. Forearms or not, he could not keep his balance. He fell hard, the breath rushing out of his body. Before he could recover, Kira was on top of him. Her knee pressed against his chest. Her hand found the nerve cluster at the base of his neck, the pressure point that would paralyze a Torvani, if struck correctly. The whole thing had taken less than 3 seconds. Kira looked down at Zeth. He was gasping for air, his red eyes wide with shock and fear. All his confidence was gone. All his pride had disappeared. He looked like what he truly was, a scared boy who had made a terrible mistake. Here is the thing about Deathworlders, Kira said quietly. Only Zeth could hear her. We learn to fight before we learn to walk. We face predators every day of our lives. We survive hurricanes and earthquakes and floods. We eat poison for fun and climb mountains for exercise. She leaned closer. You thought you were the dangerous one in this room. You were wrong. I was being polite. I was holding back. I was trying to fit in. Her grip tightened on his nerve cluster. But if you ever threaten my friends again, I will show you exactly what a Deathworlder can do. And you will not enjoy the lesson. She stood up and stepped away from him. The room remained silent. 30 students stared at her with expressions ranging from shock to awe to terror. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. 6 months later, Kira Valdez stood on the stage of the Galactic Integration Academy, wearing her graduation robes and holding a diploma in her hands. The great hall was full. Hundreds of students sat in the audience. Instructors from dozens of species lined the walls. News cameras from across the galaxy recorded every moment dot behind Kira. A massive screen displayed the symbol of the academy. Beside her stood Administrator Ven, Instructor Morvax, and the other faculty members who had guided her through her time at this strange, wonderful place. Ladies and gentlemen and beings of all forms, Ven announced, it is my honor to introduce the valedictorian of this year's graduating class. A student who has shown remarkable courage, compassion, and leadership. A young woman who has changed how the galaxy sees her species. He turned to face Kira, Miss Kira Valdez of Earth. Applause filled the hall. Kira stepped forward to the podium, her heart beating fast. She had faced pirates and pointed weapons in situations that would have broken most people. But speaking in front of a crowd still made her nervous. Thank you, she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. I am honored to stand here today. She looked out at the audience. She saw Lissa in the front row, her purple eyes bright with pride. She saw Pip beside her, his green skin glowing with happiness. She saw students from every species she had learned alongside, studied with, laughed with, cried with. When I came to this academy 3 years ago, I was afraid. Not of the classes or the challenges. I was afraid of being seen as a monster. The room went quiet. Humans come from a world called Earth. It is beautiful and deadly. Everything there can kill you if you are not careful. We evolved under constant threat, constant pressure, constant danger. This made us strong. It also gave us a reputation. She paused. Other species called us Deathworlders. They said we were violent, unpredictable, dangerous. And in some ways, they were right. We carry violence in our blood. It is part of who we are. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But violence is not all we are. We are also loyal. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. We fight for what we believe in. We never give up, even when everything seems hopeless. She looked at Lissa. I learned something important during my time here. Being dangerous does not make you a monster. What makes you a monster is what you choose to do with that danger. You can use it to hurt others. Or you can use it to help them. Her voice grew stronger. Humans choose to help. That is who we are. That is who we have always been. We faced the darkness of our own world and survived. Now we are ready to face the darkness of the galaxy. Not as conquerors, not as threats, but as protectors, as allies, as friends. She turned to face the screen behind her. Images appeared. The rescue mission. The hostages being brought to safety. Valani and Famari embracing the humans who had saved them. These are the new rules that humans bring to the galaxy. We will stand beside those who need us. We will fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. We will show the universe that power and compassion can exist together. She faced the audience one final time. My name is Kira Valdez. I am a Deathworlder, and I am proud of what that means. The applause was thunderous. Students rose to their feet. Instructors clapped their hands and tentacles and whatever appendages they had. The sound echoed through the hall like a wave crashing against the shore. Kira smiled. After the ceremony, she found Lissa and Pip waiting for her outside. That was amazing, Lissa said, throwing her arms around Kira. I cried. Pip cried too. I did not cry, Pip protested. My suit was leaking. Your suit was fine. You cried. They laughed together, the three friends who had started as strangers and become something more. Something like family. What happens now? Pip asked. Kira looked up at the stars visible through the station's transparent dome. I go home, see my family, maybe swim in the ocean. And then? Lissa asked. Then I come back. There is work to do. The Valani still need advisors. The Venari want to improve their security. The galaxy is changing, and humans need to be part of that change. You could rest, Lissa said softly. You have done enough. There's no such thing as enough. Not when people still need help. Lissa sighed. You humans never stop, do you? No, we do not know how. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Graduation parties. Farewell ceremonies. Endless goodbyes with students Kira had come to care about. Each departure was bittersweet, a reminder of how much her life had changed since that first day on the station. Instructor Morvax called her to his office one last time before she left. I wanted to thank you, he said. You have exceeded every expectation I had. I just did what any human would do. That is what makes your species remarkable. You think your extraordinary actions are ordinary. He paused. The galaxy will need more humans like you. We are entering uncertain times. Old alliances are shifting. New threats are emerging. What kind of threats? We do not know yet. But when the time comes, I believe humans will play a crucial role in facing them. Kira nodded slowly. We will be ready. I know you will. The transport to Earth was scheduled for the next morning. Kira spent her last night on Harmony Point in the observation deck, watching the stars spin slowly past the windows. Lissa found her there, as she always did. "Could you not sleep either?" the Fenari asked. Too much thinking. They sat together in comfortable silence. Years of friendship had made words unnecessary between them. "I will miss you," Lissa said finally. "I will miss you too. But we will see each other again. Promise?" Kira looked at her friend. Small, furry, afraid of almost everything. And yet the bravest person Kira had ever known. "I promise." Humans keep their promises, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. Lissa curled up against her side, warm and soft. "Tell me about Earth again. Tell me about the oceans." So Kira talked. She described the way the water stretched to the horizon, the sound of waves crashing on rocks, the smell of salt in the air, the feeling of swimming in currents that could carry you anywhere. "It sounds beautiful," Lissa said drowsily. "It is, and terrifying, like most beautiful things. I would like to see it someday. You will. I will take you there myself. We can swim together. In the death water with the creatures that want to eat us? Yes, but I will protect you. That is what friends do." Lissa smiled and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Kira stayed awake a while longer, watching the stars and thinking about everything that had happened. The scared girl who had arrived at this station 3 years ago was gone. In her place was someone different, someone stronger, someone who had learned what it meant to be human among the stars. She thought about Zeth Koran, who had started everything with his hatred and his weapon. Last she heard, he had been sentenced to rehabilitation on a distant world. Perhaps he would learn to see Deathworlders differently. Perhaps not. She thought about the hostages she had helped rescue. Many had sent her messages of thanks. Some had named children after her. A few had asked to meet her someday. She thought about the future. The uncertain times Morvax had mentioned. The threats that were coming. The role humans would play in facing them. She was not afraid. Fear was part of being human. But so was courage. So was determination. So was the refusal to give up, no matter how dark things became. The galaxy had rules. Old rules written by species who had never faced the challenges Earth had thrown at its children. Rules that said power came from weapons and wealth. Rules that said the strongest species dominated the weak. Rules that said violence was the only language the universe understood. Kira had shown them different rules. Human rules. Protect the innocent. Stand up to bullies. Fight for what matters. And never, ever abandon the people who depend on you. These were the rules she would carry forward. These were the rules humanity would bring to the stars. Not as conquerors, not as monsters, but as guardians of something precious. Hope that the transport arrived at dawn. Kira woke Lissa gently and walked with her to the docking bay. Pip was already there, along with dozens of other students who had come to say goodbye. "This is not farewell," Kira told them all. "This is just the beginning. Humans are part of the galaxy now. We are not going anywhere." She hugged Lissa one last time. She shook Pip's wet hand. She waved to the crowd of students who had become her second family. Then she boarded the ship and watched through the window as Harmony Point grew smaller and smaller, until it was just another point of light among the stars. Earth waited ahead. Home, family, the oceans and forests and mountains she had dreamed about during long nights in space. But she would return. She had promised. And humans kept their promises. The galaxy had learned what a Deathworlder could do when threatened. Now they would learn what a Deathworlder could do when given the chance to build something better. Kira. Valdez smiled as the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying her toward the future. She could not wait to get started. The news spread faster than light. Within an hour of the incident, every student on Harmony Point Station knew what had happened. Within 3 hours, the story had reached the nearest communication relay. Within 6 hours, It was being discussed on news channels across 12 star systems. A human had disarmed the Torvani with her bare hands. Not just any Torvani, but the son of the Koran weapons dynasty. Not just disarmed, but completely defeated. In less than 3 seconds. Without a single weapon of her own. The security footage was supposed to be confidential. Somehow, it leaked onto the Galactic network within a day. Kira watched herself on the screen in Instructor Morvax's office. She saw herself move in ways that looked impossible, even to her own eyes. She saw Zeth fall. She saw herself pin him to the ground with precise efficiency. "I did not realize I could move that fast," she said quietly. Morvax stood beside her, his crystal body reflecting the images on the screen. "Your species has remarkable physical abilities. Adrenaline response, I believe you call it. Yes, it happens when we are in danger. Our bodies release chemicals that make us stronger and faster. Fascinating. Most species freeze when threatened. Humans appear to do the opposite." Kira shrugged. "We would not have survived on Earth if we froze. Our planet did not allow that." The instructor turned off the screen. "I must ask you some questions, Miss Valdez. The Administrative Council requires a full report." "I understand. Did you plan to attack Mr. Koran?" "No. I did not know he would bring a weapon. I did not even know he had access to one. Why did you smile when he pointed the gun at you?" This question was harder to answer. Kira thought about it for a long moment. "I do not know," she admitted finally. "When I saw the weapon, something inside me woke up. Something old. Something from before humans built cities and flew starships. It was like meeting an old friend." Morvax's many eyes blinked slowly. "You enjoyed the danger?" "Not exactly. It is hard to explain. On Earth, we have a word for it. Thrill. The feeling of being alive when death is close. Some humans chase that feeling their whole lives. That is deeply concerning to most species in the galaxy. I know. That is why I tried to hide it." The instructor was quiet for a moment. "You handled the situation well. You protected your classmates. You did not cause unnecessary harm to Mr. Koran. But I must warn you that things will be different now." "Different how?" "Everyone knows what you are capable of. They have seen the footage. They know that humans are not the weak creatures some believe them to be." Kira nodded slowly. "I was afraid of that. Fear may not be the right response," Morvax said. "Change is not always bad. Perhaps it is time for the galaxy to learn the truth about your species." When Kira returned to her quarters, she found Lissa waiting outside her door. The small Fenari jumped up as soon as she saw her. "Kira, are you okay?" "What did they say? Are you in trouble?" "I am fine. No trouble. They just wanted to know what happened." Lissa followed her into the room. "Everyone is talking about you. The whole station. Everyone saw the video. You are famous. I did not want to be famous." "I know. But you are." Lissa sat on the edge of the bed. "Some students are scared of you now. They say you are dangerous." "They are right," Kira said simply. "I am dangerous. I always have been. I just tried not to show it. Why? Because I wanted friends. I wanted people to like me. I did not want to be seen as a monster." Lissa reached out and took her hand. "You are not a monster. You saved everyone in that room. Zeth could have hurt us. He could have killed us. But you stopped him. I almost killed him myself. When I had him on the ground, I could feel how easy it would be to end his life. One strike to the right place, and he would be dead. But you did not do it. No, I did not." "That is what makes you not a monster," Lissa said. "Monsters do not control themselves." "You did." Kira looked at her small friend. Lissa had been terrified during the incident. She had cried and shaken and looked like she wanted to disappear. But now she sat here, holding hands with the most dangerous creature she had ever met. "Why are you not afraid of me?" Kira asked. Lissa thought about this. "Because I know you. I have seen you help other students with their homework. I have seen you share your food with Pip when he forgot his lunch. I have seen you comfort the Villani girl who was homesick. You are kind. You just happen to also be very, very good at fighting. Those two things do not go together for most species. They go together for humans," Lissa said. "I think that is what makes your species special." The next few days were strange. Kira walked through the hallways and felt every eye on her. Some students stepped aside when she passed, pressing themselves against the walls. Others stared with open curiosity. A few approached her with questions. "Is it true that humans can survive in extreme temperatures? Can you really eat foods that would poison other species? How did you move so fast? Can all humans do that?" Kira answered as honestly as she could. Yes, humans had wide temperature tolerance. Yes, they could process many substances that were toxic to other species. No, not all humans could move as fast as she had. But most could do something similar in the right circumstances. "We call it the fight or flight response," she explained to a group of curious students in the cafeteria. "When we are in danger, our bodies prepare us to either fight the threat or run away from it. Our hearts beat faster. Our muscles receive more blood. Our reflexes become quicker." "That sounds exhausting," a Villani student said. "It is. Afterward, we feel very tired. But in the moment, it can save our lives. Why did your species evolve such a response?" Kira thought about how to explain Earth to people who had never experienced anything like it. "Our planet is dangerous. Very dangerous. We have predators that can kill us. We have diseases that can kill us. We have weather that can kill us. We have plants and insects and even tiny creatures in the water that can kill us." The students looked horrified. "How did you survive?" Someone asked. "We adapted. We learned. We fought back. Our ancestors faced these dangers every day for millions of years. The ones who could not survive did not pass on their traits. The ones who could survive had children, and those children were even better at surviving. Natural selection," a science student said. "Evolution through environmental pressure." "Yes, exactly. Earth put pressure on us, and we became what we are now. It was not pleasant. Many humans died along the way, but the species continued. And now you are one of the most dangerous species in the galaxy," the Villani student said quietly. Kira nodded. "Yes, we are. But we are also one of the most adaptable. We can live almost anywhere. We can eat almost anything. We can work with almost anyone. That is why I came to this academy. I wanted to show that humans can be good partners, good friends, good allies, even though you could destroy us if you wanted to, because we could destroy you if we wanted to. Power is only dangerous when it is used without thought. Humans have learned that lesson many times. We are trying to be better." Not everyone was convinced. Zeth's friends avoided Kira completely. Some species with long histories of conflict stayed far away from her. A few students transferred to other classes to avoid being in the same room, but others moved closer. The Villani delegation asked Kira to sit with them at lunch. They said her presence made them feel safe. The Fenari students wanted her to teach them basic self-defense. The crystalline scholars asked endless questions about human biology and psychology. Instructor Morvax called her back to his office a week after the incident. "The administrative council has made a decision," he said. "There will be no punishment for your actions. You are considered to have acted in defense of yourself and others." Kira let out a breath she had not realized she was holding. "Thank you. However, there will be consequences for Mr. Corrin. He has been expelled from the academy." His family is facing investigation for how he obtained the weapon. There is talk of criminal charges. Will he go to prison? That is for the courts to decide. The Tavani Empire is embarrassed by his actions. They may choose to make an example of him. Kira felt a small twinge of guilt. Zeth had been cruel and dangerous, but he was also young. He had been raised to believe certain things about Deathworlders. He had acted on those beliefs without thinking about the consequences. What will happen to me now? She asked. Morvax's crystal body shifted colors. That depends on you. The galaxy is watching, Miss Valdez. Your actions have changed how many species view humanity. Some see you as a hero. Others see you as a threat. You have the opportunity to shape what happens next. I just want to finish my studies and go home. Perhaps. But fate has other plans. You have become a symbol, whether you wanted to or not. How you behave from now on will affect how humans are treated throughout the galaxy. It was a heavy burden to place on a 17-year-old girl, but Kira understood the truth of it. She had shown the galaxy what humans could do when threatened. Now she needed to show them what humans could do when given the chance to be friends. That night, she sat in her room and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, blue and green and deadly. Her family was there, living their lives under a yellow sun. She missed them. She missed the smell of rain and the sound of birds and the feeling of grass under her feet. She missed the danger of her home world, which suddenly did not seem so dangerous compared to the dangers of the galaxy. 2 months after the incident, the galaxy was still talking about Kira Valdez. News channels ran special reports about humans and their Deathworld origins. Scientists published papers analyzing the security footage frame by frame. Diplomats discussed what this meant for human relations with the rest of the galaxy. Earth's government received more communication requests in those 2 months than they had in the previous 5 years. Kira tried to ignore it all. She went to class. She did her homework. She spent time with Lissa and Pip. She pretended that everything was normal, even though nothing was normal anymore. But the galaxy would not let her hide. The first delegation arrived 3 weeks after the incident. They were from the Villani Collective, a peaceful species that had never developed weapons of their own. Their homeworld had no predators. They had evolved without learning to fight. We wish to speak with the human, their ambassador said. We have a proposal. Administrator Ven brought Kira to the meeting. She sat across from 3 Villani diplomats, their pale skin and large eyes making them look fragile and afraid. Miss Valdez, the lead ambassador said, we have watched the recording of your confrontation with the Torvani student many times. We are impressed. Thank you, Kira said carefully. But I only did what needed to be done. That is precisely why we are here. The Villani have always been vulnerable. Other species take advantage of our peaceful nature. They steal our resources. They make threats. They know we cannot fight back. The ambassador leaned forward. We would like to hire humans as protectors. Kira blinked. I am sorry? Your species has abilities that others do not. You are fast. You are strong. You can survive in harsh conditions. And most importantly, you have the instinct to protect others. We saw that in the classroom. You did not just save yourself. You saved everyone. I am just a student, Kira said. I cannot speak for my entire species. We understand. But your government has expressed interest in our proposal. They believe it could be the beginning of a new relationship between humans and the rest of the galaxy. Kira thought about this for a long moment. Humans as protectors. Humans as guardians. It was a very different role than the one Earth had expected to play in galactic politics. I will need to think about this, she said finally. And I will need to talk to my family. Of course. Take all the time you need. The Vellani were not the only ones with proposals. The Fenari wanted human advisors to help train their security forces. The Crystalline Collective wanted human scientists to study how life could thrive on Deathworlds. Even the Torvani Empire, swallowing their pride after Zeth's disgrace, sent representatives to discuss mutual defense agreements. Kira's communication device buzzed constantly with interview requests from news outlets across the galaxy. She declined them all. "I do not want to be famous," she told Lissa one evening. "I just want to finish school and go home." "Too late for that," Lissa said gently. "You changed everything when you stopped Zeth. The galaxy sees you differently now. The galaxy sees humans differently." "Yes, and that is not a bad thing." Lissa curled up on Kira's bed, her golden fur soft against the blankets. "Before you came here, most species thought humans were dangerous savages, creatures to be feared and avoided. Now they see that you can be protectors, allies, friends. Because I beat up one bully? Because you could have killed him, but you chose not to. Because you protected students from species that are weaker than yours. Because you showed them the power does not have to mean cruelty." Kira looked at her small friend. "When did you become so wise?" "I have always been wise. You just never listened." They laughed together, and for a moment, things felt normal again. But normal did not last long. A week later, Instructor Morvax called an emergency assembly. Every student at the academy gathered in the Great Hall, hundreds of young beings from dozens of worlds. "I have difficult news," Morvax announced. His crystal body pulsed with anxious colors. "A situation has developed in the outer territories. A group of pirates has taken control of a passenger vessel. They are holding over 300 civilians hostage." Gasps filled the hall. The outer territories were lawless space, far from any government's control. Pirates operated freely there, raiding ships and demanding ransoms. "What species are the hostages?" someone asked. "Mixed. Vellani, Fenari, several others. The pirates are demanding a large payment for their release. If they do not receive it, they will begin executing hostages in 12 hours. What about rescue?" Another student asked. "Can the military intervene?" "The nearest military force is too far away. They cannot arrive in time." Morvax paused. "However, there is a ship from Earth currently in the area. They have offered to attempt a rescue." Every eye in the room turned to Kira. She had not spoken. She had not moved. But somehow, everyone knew that this news involved her. "The human vessel has requested additional personnel for their mission," Morvax continued. "Specifically, they have asked for someone familiar with the species being held hostage. Someone who could help coordinate with the civilians during the rescue." He looked directly at Kira. "Miss Valdez, they have asked for you." Kira felt her heart begin to beat faster. The old feeling was returning. The thrill of danger. The call of something deep inside her that had been sleeping since the incident with Zeth. "Why me?" she asked. "Because of who you are. Because of what you represent. The hostages know your name. They have seen the footage. If a human appears to save them, they will trust that human. They will follow instructions. They will stay calm. And if I refuse, then the rescue becomes more difficult. Perhaps impossible. Many people may die." The room was silent. Every student watched Kira, waiting for her answer. She thought about the hostages. Vellani and Fenari, species that could not fight for themselves. They were trapped on a ship with armed criminals who would kill them without hesitation. They were terrified and alone. She thought about her family back on Earth. Her mother would be horrified if she knew what Kira was considering. Her father would be proud, but worried that she thought about what Morvax had said weeks ago. She had become a symbol. Her actions would affect how humans were treated throughout the galaxy. "I will go," she said. Lissa grabbed her arm. Kira, no. This is too dangerous. You are just a student. So are the Fenari on that ship. So are the Villani. Kira gently removed her friend's hand. I cannot ask others to trust humans if I am not willing to take risks for them. But you could die. Yes, I could. But that is what it means to be human. We face death so that others do not have to. She stood up and walked toward Instructor Morvax. When do I leave? The ship was called the Dawn Runner. It was a small Earth vessel designed for fast travel and light cargo. The captain was a woman named Grace Santos, with gray hair and hard eyes and a kind of quiet confidence that came from surviving many dangerous situations. So you are the famous Deathworld girl, she said when Kira came aboard. I am just a student, not anymore. Grace handed her a simple uniform. Put this on. We launch in 10 minutes. The crew was small. 5 humans in total, including Kira. They were all volunteers. People who had heard about the hostage situation and wanted to help. The pirates have 15 armed fighters, Grace explained as the ship launched toward the outer territories. They are experienced and ruthless. They have killed hostages before to prove they are serious. How do we fight them? We do not fight them directly. That would get the hostages killed. Instead, we sneak aboard and get the civilians out before the pirates know what is happening. Is that possible? With humans? Yes, we are very good at sneaking. The journey took 4 hours. Kira spent the time reviewing the ship's layout and memorizing the positions of the hostages and guards. She also received basic training in the equipment she would use. When they arrived at the pirate vessel, Grace gathered the team together. Remember the plan. We go in quiet. No noise, no alerts. We reach the hostages, keep them calm, and guide them to the escape pods. If we do this right, we will be gone before the pirates know we were ever here. She looked at Kira. Your job is to handle the hostages. They will be scared. They will want to panic. You need to keep them together and moving. Can you do that? Kira nodded. I can do that. Good. Then let us go save some lives. The approach was terrifying. The Dawn Runner drifted toward the pirate ship with its engines off, using only momentum and careful adjustments. To any sensors, it looked like space debris. When they reached the hull, the team attached magnetic locks and cut through an outer panel. The ship's interior was dark and cold. The pirates had turned off most systems to conserve power. Kira moved with the team through narrow corridors, following the memorized route. Her heart pounded in her chest. Her senses felt sharper than ever. Every sound, every shadow could mean discovery and death. They found the hostages in the cargo bay. Over 300 beings huddled together, watched by 2 pirate guards with weapons ready. Grace signaled the team. 2 humans moved silently toward the guards. In seconds, both pirates were unconscious on the floor, taken down without a single shot being fired. Kira stepped into the cargo bay. The hostages looked up at her. She saw Villani with their wide eyes, Fenari with their golden fur. Others she did not recognize. All of them were exhausted, hungry, and terrified. My name is Kira Valdez, she said quietly. I am human. I am here to help.